Today we're doing a simple job, which is to upgrade the stock rear shock unit on the KTM Small Dukes to the current generation of White Power Apex, which is what is fitted to all the models on the KTM range, I now believe, and is also fitted to Husqvarnas such as the 401 and the 125. Bear in mind with these that the 125 200 is a different shock unit to the 390 401s because the bikes are heavier and they're a bit faster. So if you're buying a second-hand unit, which is really cost effective, then make sure you know what you're buying. First thing we need to do is to remove the heel guard from the footrest because it blocks a screw we need to remove. Now, to remove the chain guard, there are 2 bolts on this side and there are bolts behind here. There's one either side of the rear shock and there is a nut up the front here. Some of these, depending on what generation of swinging arm you've got, that's actually a bolt and there is a nut on the bottom end of it, which is quite awkward to get to. So let's get these last 2 out. And this one is actually a screw of a bolt. Then, if I've got them all, we have to unhook this from the chain at the back here because it has a piece at the back, and then if I've got all of them, it will lift out. There we go. Now I just dropped a bolt on the ground. So what we've got on these is that here there's a metal cup that sits in here with a bolt in it. There's another bolt down here, and then there's a stud on this bike that actually has a nut to it. Sometimes that's a bolt all the way down through. But there are 3 bolts, one here, and one here. You can see I've got the Apex unit in here already, so I'm just going to pull it out and then show you how it refits. You've got a bolt here, you've got a bolt here. This one has a 15mm nut on the back. Looks like I actually put it in the wrong way round because I think it's supposed to go for bolt the other side. It doesn't really matter, and you are probably going to need a little bit of force because it's in there reasonably tight and it will have Loctite on it. At this point, of course, you need the bike to be in the air with the back wheel off the ground. This can be one of the most difficult parts of the whole operation because, as you see, we've pretty much done it already. You may need a stand on the front wheel to hold it steady, put a jack under the engine to raise the bike so the back wheel is off the ground because you can't raise it by the rear wheel or the swinging arm. And you may want to stabilize it, perhaps by tying it to the roof if you have availability. You may want to get a friend in to help you hold the bike steady if it does tie and tilt on you. It's not a lot heavy bike, so it's perfectly possible to hold it that way. So let's get this out. And the chain will fight you a little bit as well. So you may need to loosen the back wheel a bit if you haven't got clearance. I would recommend that you loosen both this and the top bolt whilst the bike is on the ground, unless you have a steady work stand, as I do. I'm going to remove the nut from the other side. I'm just going to tap the bolt out this way. I'm going to use a dead blow hammer so I don't damage the threads. So I hold the wheel, take the weight. There was no force to it at all. Don't forget the washer on the other side. And then taking the plate of the rear wheel. If the shock's been in there a little while, it may not be quite as easy to remove as this one is. This one hasn't been on the bike very long. Just enough time for me to get a good test of it. And I have to say I'm really happy with it. And the bolt removes. And then we can just tilt it out of the way. And that is all there is to taking this out. So these are the two units. So they are pretty much identical. As you can see, that one just says WP on it. This one says WP Apex. The most important part is on the other side, because on the Apex unit, it has rebounder damping, or a rebound adjustment, I should say, which this one doesn't. And that makes a lot of difference to ride quality. With that out, simply put the new unit back in. So this should be a thread lock. Type 243 is what the factory recommends. You need to lift the back wheel and get the shock all in the right place at the same time, but not a big deal. Again, Loctite. And we finish off with the torque wrench. Torque is 51 Newton meters. This should all be in the description box when you need it. Ideally, we shouldn't use such a long bar. Check those. There we go. All we need to do now is put the chain guard back on, and don't forget our footrest, or heel guard, I should say. and just nip them up. I mean, these are very, very small bolts with fine threads, so don't damage them, because if you strip that thread out the swinging arm, then you will regret it. And now we can put our bolts back in here. And your screw back into this one. And finally, we put this back on, and that's it. That's actually got the rear shock installed. Let's look at adjusting it. Adjusting the shock. Compression adjustment is the same as on your standard shock, and you can find the instructions in your user manual. Down here, there is the rebound settings, and you can see it says soft and hard. So the further to the right you turn it, the harder the rebound is. The further to the left you turn it, the softer the rebound is. So to set it, you find a good fitting screwdriver and you turn it to the right. You can feel it click if you're gentle on the screwdriver. You turn it all the way till it stops, and then you go back until the first click. 10 is for sport, so 10 back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 15 is standard, 20 is comfort. The settings are all in the description. Now, one issue you'll have with this, the current generation of swinging arm has a cutaway here. There is a cutaway here, so this allows you to get the screwdriver in here. But on the older generation swinging arms, this rib goes straight up here, whereas on that one it's been cut away. And there are 2 ribs here, and these are reinforcing ribs. What you need to do is to just cut that back down there and off at an angle. So just take that bit of rib away. Don't take more rib than you need. And on both ribs there on this side, and then you'll be able to get at the screw in the same way that you can on the newer swinging arms. Now this is a modification that KTM have made and also Husqvarna have made. Basically it's the same swinging arms that both companies use, so you'll find this on the new RCs and the 401s. So it's a perfectly safe modification to make, but it is structural, so don't take more than you need. And that's it. That's all there is to changing over the rear shock to the WP Apex or any other shock of your choice. So this bike has now been upgraded front and rear suspension to the current generation of suspension that's being fitted by both KTM and Husqvarna to their small bikes, and actually throughout their whole range. Do you need it? No, not really, but it's a nice upgrade, and all the bikes across the ranges have been upgraded for a reason. You will definitely benefit. You don't need it, but you will benefit, and if you can afford it, it's certainly a worthwhile upgrade. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.